Righto, something a little bit different today for ORCA, day 62 of 90. It all came about because of this post right here and this question from Keith Ferrazzi. So I'm going to read you the post right now, then we're going to actually do it live. What would it mean for AI to be my partner and reinvent my role? No matter what position or industry you're in, you should be asking yourself this question. The natural inclination is that if AI really does its job, it'll edge me out. That will be true. There will be jobs that'll disappear within the next 3 to 5 years. Probably quicker. I'm tipping. Anyway, we'll go with that. We'll roll with that. You need to be asking yourself if you're the type of person who is curious to lean in and to reinvent your role as a partner in AI and looking at reinventing the workflow and how AI changes all of that. And if you're the person who does that, the company will find a place for you. We need leadership like that today. That's exactly where this episode of Success for the Athletic-Minded Man goes into. In my conversation with Jim Harshaw Jr., we talked about the future of work and AI. This is the important bit. Write this down. We talk about how curiosity and reinvention are the new job security, why most teams fall into a hub and spoke trap where everything runs through the leader, and how conflict avoidance quietly creates politics, longer cycle times, and endless follow-up meetings. Sound familiar? Let me just turn some lights on here, make this a little bit. Oh, look at that. All right. Also break down how to build candor, psychological safety with simple practices like stress testing and initiative, not to tear someone down, but to make sure the team doesn't let them fail. If you want to lead without authority and real buy-in and build team accountability that performs under pressure, this one's for you. Right, so we're going to smash this question out today. What would it mean for AI to be my partner and reinvent the role? I'm going to show you exactly how AI is my wingman and how we go from concept, idea, through to a LinkedIn post and what you see on ORCA Live every day. I'm going to use the exact same wingman that I use to do that. So what we need first is our Trello board, because normally I would have had this all planned out, but I need a little checklist to run. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to pull up we need a pen comment question first. So what we're going to do, I need to explain. We're going to go to, I have an Orca wingman called Mox Reset First of the First, which I'm going to have to build a new one of these very soon. They tend to burn out, and I've probably already running the risk of him running out of memory, but let's hit him up. Okay, Mox, we are live on LinkedIn at the moment, so you're under the pump. You don't get time to mess around like you normally do, creating a post for LinkedIn. We need a banger post. It's Saturday. We already put the PM post up that you spoke to this morning, but there's been another great post come up from Keith Ferrazzi, which was, hang on, I need to find that question for you. I'll find it in a second. It is, where's that question gone? What would it mean for AI to be my partner and reinvent my role? So what we're showing people is how you and I work together, how we create the posts for ORCA, how we prep, everything that we do. So obviously we need to verify a full kit, but that's the context of the post. So we're going to run through that. A couple of things that I'm going to do during this post is I'm using you to write a post, then we'll hand it over to the banger bot and then come back again. Then we're going to swing across to the big ass wingman, and we're going to do some thinking time questions on number one, what would it mean for AI to be my partner and reinvent my role, reframing goals and obliterating questions, obstacles, which is out of the book Intentional, and thinking time on how we can 10x the video watch time. So as usual, we need a banger post, but first thing I need you to do is, I don't know if you can do it this way around, but tell me what you think. What I need you to do first is create a pinned comment that I can throw up here so we can generate some interaction while we're actually doing this. And we need to verify a full kit as well, obviously. So that's not as good as what I would normally do. It's what Ed Dale calls a word vomit. So we get all the shit out. What we need to do, give him some intent behind what we're trying to do, how we're going about it, what the mission is, where we need to get to, and then he'll crunch all of that down into something that is fairly is tangible. What you read every day. Verify full kit purpose, clear. Showing you real time how you use AI as a thinking and execution partner, not content spam and not theory. Yep, perfect. Audience, clear. PMs, PDs, EGMs who are quietly wondering how their role changes with AI. Context, live on LinkedIn, Saturday equals light, reflective but sharp. Keith Ferrazzi, question, is the spine? Yeah, proof you and me are working live, prep posts, thinking time. Call to action, soft correct with Saturday, comment, engage, stay on the live, watch how it's actually done. Perfect, full kit verified. All right, one line pinned comment. What would actually change for your role if AI became your partner instead of another tool? Ooh, I like that one. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I need this up for a sec. I need to change from one banger bot to the other one so I can copy, paste this in. I just need to let that update. Try and get that comment in. Okay, so I'm going to give that a little bit of time. That up now. There you go. There it is. So that is your next mission. Is I want to put that in the comments right now. What would actually change for your role if AI became your partner instead of just another tool? Instead of using it like a calculator or Excel, what if it became your strategic thought partner like I'm doing with it right now? Okay, all right, when you're ready, say next, and I'll give you the Saturday banger post. Use the Ferrazzi question, position as partner without sounding like AI. Height, tease up, big ass wingman, thinking time cleanly. I'm locked in. Next, hit me, big dog. See what he comes up with. She comes up with. Don't know. Could be either or. You can do anything. You just can't do everything. David Allen. Here's the question that's been rattling around in my head this morning, and it should probably rattle around in yours too. What would it actually mean for you to be, for AI to be my partner and reinvent my role? Creed Ferrazzi asked that this week, and it's stuck. Not another tool, not another dashboard, not another thing to manage. A partner. That's literally what you're watching right now. This post wasn't written in isolation, it was built live without me thinking loud, testing ideas, tightening language and using AI wingman, not a replacement. Same with prepping ORCA. This is a bit most people miss. That's a pretty damn good post, actually. We're going to copy that. So what we do is we copy that and we go to what Taki Moore calls the banger bot. Let's have a chat with the banger bot. Hey BangerBot, it's Saturday, and this is context around what we're doing. So you'll see a Keith Ferrazzi quote in here. So I've taken that literally and turned today's Saturday's live into showing people how to use AI, what it would look like, what it would actually mean. So Mox has written a post. I want you to tell me if it's a Saturday banger and if it's in line with the content that we have been creating this week. If someone's been following along, they're likely to see this and go, yeah, I need to work with this guy. Let that transcribe. Stop in. There's the post. Let's see what he says about this. Yep, this is a Saturday banger and it's right lane for where you've been taken this week. More importantly, it does what a Saturday post should do: lower the shoulders, widen the aperture, and deepen the trust without selling or teaching. Here's my straight take. What this does really well: tone, coffee, it's hot is accurate. It reads like someone thinking out loud, not broadcasting. That's exactly right for Saturday. No urgency, no watch this live, no proof flex, no framework drops. It feels human, not scheduled. The AI framing is finally mature. This line is the pivot. What would it actually mean for AI to be my partner and reinvent my role? That's a grown-up AI question. You're not selling tools, predicting the future, defending AI. You're asking about role clarity, which ties back cleanly back to PM capacity, signal versus noise, flows versus busyness, ORCA versus thinking infrastructure. This makes this congruent with the entire week. Partner, not replacement, lands because it shows this section is doing heavy lifting without sounding like a case study. This post wasn't written in isolation. It was built live using AI as a wingman, not replacement. You didn't say AI as a wingman and move on. You demonstrated it. That's why it works. The pivot line is dead on. This is the sharpest insight in the post. AI doesn't save you time by magic. It saves you time once you're clear on your role. This sentence alone reframes AI, reframes productivity, reframes leadership, and it perfectly echoes the week's theme. Clarity to flow equals leverage. Question is Saturday perfect? What part of your role would you deliberately hand to an AI partner? It's reflective, not performative, not threatening, future-facing without hype. People can answer this without feeling exposed, which is exactly what you want on a weekend. Where it fits in this week, this matters. This post sits between Friday, execution alignment, ops first delivery authority, Sunday, standards, reflection, reset, ORCA priming. Saturday's job is to humanise the system and let people breathe. This post does that by saying, I'm not outsourcing thinking, I'm protecting it. That's a clean bridge into Sunday reflection, Monday execution discipline, ORCA as the operating rhythm. So yes, it fits cleanly. The optional micro tweak, optional, not required. You wanted slightly more punch without changing the tone. If you wanted slightly more punch without changing the tone, this line. If your job is still reacting, updating spreadsheets could become, if your job has quietly drifted into reacting and updating spreadsheets. Why quietly drifted matches your broader narrative, removes judgment, increases recognition, but honestly, this works as it is. Final verdict. Yes, this is a Saturday banger. It's a line with the week. It builds trust without selling, and it sets up Sunday, Monday cleanly. This isn't a scroll stopper, it's a scroll slower, and that's exactly what you want here. If you want next, I can write Sunday reflection, snaps the standard. We'll come back to that. You'll call Big Doggy, reckons. Love the Big Dog reference. Right, is that a little bit better than the way you're putting your post together currently for LinkedIn? You know all my secrets now. You've seen, we've lifted the veil, and you've seen behind how we actually do this. No to Big Dog. That tells me something important actually. There's tone landing exactly where it should. Confident, relaxed, and human without tipping into LinkedIn cosplay or trying too hard. We'll keep that energy grounded, slightly irreverent, calm authority, no performative hustle. Any time you want to dial it up a notch, mate, Big Dog, pull up a chair. Down a notch, neutral, surgical, boardroom safe. Just say the word. Right. So we have, what we need to do now is go back to our chat. So we've got our pinned comment in question. We use Mox and we use the BangerBot to create a post, which will run fucking rings around 9% of the clowns that are using AI to create posts on LinkedIn. Tell me I'm wrong or tell me I'm right. You vote in the comments. Is that post that I've just written right there better than 90% of the bullshit that you see on LinkedIn on a daily basis? All right, time to head to the big ass wingman and asking that question. We're going to have to give, notice how I put a lot of time into always giving the AI the context around what we're doing, who we're speaking to, and what the outcome is, what's the mission that we're trying to achieve. All right, thinking time question. What I should do, put the checklist up here on here. Look at that, we've made an improvement to the system already. We need big ass here, big ass planning. Okay, big ass wingman. Here's context behind what we're doing. So there's a Keith Ferrazzi question that popped up in my LinkedIn feed today in a post, okay? And it is, what would it mean for AI to be my partner and reinvent my role? Now, we need to verify full kit before we start, but there's a couple of things that I want you to do with this. Number one is I want you and I to do a thinking time session on what that would look like. We need to keep this, remember we're actually live at the moment, so don't give me tasks like go off and write a list out at the moment. We don't want to do that sort of bullshit, but bounce some ideas and ask some questions. We're just giving people a insight into the process behind how you and I think and operate together. Obviously, we need to verify full kit before we start. There is a couple of questions that we are actually going to go backwards and forwards on this on, but that's the key one to start with. What would it mean for AI to be my partner and reinvent my role in the big ass year? Let's see what we come back with here. I learned this out of a book called The AI Driven Leader by Jeff Woods. Using AI as a strategic thought partner. Also learned a lot. This is vitally important. If you live on the Sunny Coast, there's a lad called Chris Bowden, who runs a Pregen Digital Hub, not far from where I actually am. Man is a fucking genius around all things AI. And I actually learned the first time I drove home, I was on site, I drove home to get to a meeting that he was running one night. He was actually teaching how to use AI to write grant proposals. A lot of what I do is based off of what I learned from Chris that night. I'll copy that. So we're live, so I'll stay thinking time mode, not homework mode. No lists to write down, no go away and do X. This is about showing the process, not producing artifacts. Let's do this cleanly. Verify full kit. Task 1, question in public, calmly, without solving it. What would it mean for AI to be my partner and reinvent my role in the big ass year? Normally he would say, go away and think about these things. I'd write some stuff down. I'd take a photo, drop it back into him, and he'll go, have you thought about this, this and this? This is telling me this. He gets insights and he looks at it through different levels and different ways than would ever be possible for me to do in that like that. Let's start with Keith Ferrazzi's question actually bites. Most people hear that and immediately jump to tools, efficiency, speed, content, automation. That's not my partnership. That's not partnership, that's outsourcing. So I'll throw the first reframe back to you live. Reframe 1. If AI is a partner, not a tool, what parts of your current role should no longer exist at all? Not be faster, not be easier, not exist. Sit with that for a second, because your partner doesn't help you just do a better job. A partner changes what your job is. Now let me mirror what I already see, not conclusions, observations. From the work we've done so far in the big ass year, you're already not using AI to get things done. You're using it to sharpen thinking, surface constraints, test beliefs, slow decisions down before they go too fast. So here's the next live question, and this one is uncomfortable in a good way. If AI is doing the thinking with you, where does authority now sit? Because traditionally, thinking equals seniority, clarity equals experience, decision equals hierarchy. But if thinking comes with collaborative, your role can't stay expert explainer, which leads to the next one. This is the one I'd pause on live. Question 3, if you no longer need to prove effort, expertise or busyness, what is your role actually for? Not rhetoric, not inspirationally. Practically, what do you now hold? What do you now protect? What do you now decide? Because partnership only works if roles are distinct. Here's the tension worth naming, not resolving. If AI is your partner in the big ass year, then you are less operator, explainer, rescuer, bottleneck, and more chooser, constraint setter, outcome decider, standard holder. I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm saying that's the direction this question is pulling you. One final question to sit with, and then I'll shut up. This is the one I'd leave hanging for the audience. If AI can make me think clearer under pressure, what excuse do I no longer get to use? Not answer yet, not call to action yet, not resolution yet. That's the thinking time done properly, especially live. If you want next, you can let you respond to one of those questions out loud, or flip it and let me challenge one of your assumptions in real time. Okay. This is the thing. It looks through so many different layers at so many different angles. I want to come back to what you said just the other day. So you said, what's my role now? Right, okay. So my value is in the outcome that I'll make inevitable, not the effort, busy work I demonstrate. So your job's to do we eliminate to start off with, to do the busy work. My value is you don't know how to get a construction project that's 3 months behind schedule back on track. I can feed you stuff, I can feed you ideas, but you've never actually been out there and physically built one. Okay? And the other thing that you can't do is you can't judge the emotions and build a team. That's what I can do. That's the piece that I can do. I make it, that outcome of turning a project around, I make it inevitable because I've been there, done it before, and I've got the 38 years of practical experience behind it. Yes, you can go and quickly learn what I learn, surface level, but there's a deep understanding that you need to have, and you need to, and I need to know how to use certain tools and certain strategies at a certain time, where you can suggest them, but it might not exactly be the right time. Does that make sense? Has that answered any of those questions? Went a lot deeper than what I thought we were going to go here, but this is pretty good content, so we'll keep cracking on. Yes, that absolutely answered the question. More importantly, just define the partnership boundary out loud. That's the real work. Let me reflect it back cleanly, then ask one follow-on question, not a class task. What this thing really does really, really friggin' well when you use it properly, is give you clarity. Two lines that have come out with me, for me this week, is when I'm talking to people, I go, this is the outcome. You can double your productivity by fixing this, reducing your 90% waste and doubling that 10% value added time. That is the outcome. You've got to decide that you want it. That's your decision. I can't do that bit for you. And the other one is, my value is in the outcome that I make inevitable. That outcome's inevitable. If you work with me over a period of time, you do the ordinary things consistently that I tell you to do. You do your ORCAs every day. You start getting in the rhythm. You start getting this flywheel happening here. That's what, that will happen. That's inevitable. It will happen. The outcome that I make inevitable, not the effort. I don't need to be busy. I don't need to be running around doing all of this bullshit just so you think you're getting value. I'm not going to do it. So it's wasting my time and your money when I'm doing that. Okay. You didn't describe what AI helps you do. Describe what only you can do. Your role is not explaining tools, producing volume, being busy, providing expertise. Your role is this. You make the right outcome inevitable by judging timing, emotion, and context under real pressure. He's just summed up my rambling very succinctly. 3 things you know that matter. Judgment under uncertainty. You know when to use a tool, not just which tool to use. Timing beats technique. Embodied experience. You've stood on late, messy sites with real consequences. That pattern recognition, that's just the thing that AI is really good at. The word that was eluding me before is pattern recognition. It's insanely good at pattern recognition, which is why I keep feeding it ORCA every day. And I suggest that you do the same thing as well. Pattern recognition can't be faked or fast-tracked. Human dynamics, reading a room, rebuilding belief, knowing when to push versus protect, that's not data, that's presence. This is why your line works. My value is in the outcome I make inevitable. Because it inevitably doesn't come from information, it comes from judgment and experience and trust. Where AI actually fits without you shrinking your role. Based on what you just said, AI is not the expert. AI is a force multiplier that removes friction around your judgment. It lets me crank through a lot of data, a lot of information, quick, so I can make better decisions. In other words, AI clears the noise, challenges assumptions, surfaces options, does the busy work, keeps cadence and memory. So you can do the part that actually turns projects around. Decide what matters now and how hard to push humans. The real partnership, not replacement, not delegation theatre. One question to sit with, then pause. This isn't for you to answer right now. If your value is judgment and human leadership under pressure, what should you never again be spending your time on? Oh, that is a damn, I'm going to save that, good question. Oh man, that is a really good question. Final question. If AI can sit clearly under pressure, or you're just going to capture that right now, if your judgment and human leadership under pressure, what should you never be spending your time on ever again? Man, I'm going to bang that in the comments because we don't want to lose that. Damn. get that one. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to the next question now. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day. Well, not we're going to be here all day. You and I are going to go deeper on that at another time in another session. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a photo. Just give me a minute. I'm going to take a photo of the book Intentional by Chris Bailey. You need to use your tools to go out and research that. He's also written another book called Hyperfocus. What I want us to focus in on here is obliterating obstacles and a process called mental contrasting. How could we use this process? So I'm going to take a photo of this, I'm going to upload it. So I'm going to upload I'll do it all at once. How can we tie that in? He's already got, I'm going to give you the page before as well, which talks to outcome goals and process goals, which we've already done pretty well, and you will understand why we've already done that pretty well. You'll be able to tell me what our outcome goal is and what our process goal is. There's a question in obliterating obstacles, which is something around what's going to stop us reaching our outcome goal. You need to tell me what our outcome goal is, what our process goal is, and then let's step through that process. Let's just verify full kit before you start, but so let that transcribe. Take a picture of both these pages. This is how you go from reading to execution, learning to execution straight away. No messing around. I was going to do this. I could have done this even quicker this morning if I'd have done it straight when I was reading. But I wanted to show you this so you could see. The time of the question by Ferrazzi just could not have been any better than what it is. Right. Let's give our mate that, see what he does. Great book, by the way. The chapter, if your New Year's resolution has drifted already, get and read chapter, it's called Goal Editing. Use chapter, I'll work out what chapter it is for you. I have to read this chapter a few times. Chapter 3. Intentional. Chris Bailey. How to finish what you start. Okay, Roger. Next task, we'll verify full kit, then we'll lock the outcome goal, process goal, then we'll run the mental contrasting sequence, lifestyle, questions, bounce, not homework. Task, we're verifying for use mental contrasting to identify what will stop us hitting the goal, what we do about it in the moment, not a planning document. Inputs available, your big ass year goals, skill games, MRR, sprint cadence, your daily execution loop, flex, social, the book pages you shared, outcome versus process goals, obliterating obstacles, mental contrasting as a method, science-backed approach. Time box 10 to 15 minutes for this pass. Output 1 to 3 obstacles, then 1 to 3 if then counter plans. Full kit verified. What is our outcome goal? You've got a big outcome and a near outcome. For this exercise, we don't both so the obstacles don't get fuzzy. Outcome goal, big ass year, win school games quarterly in the money category. Yep, that's right. That's the end state that you want to end by the year review. Outcome goal, near term to sprint 1 to 2, 3K, 30K monthly cash flow. Yep, that's exactly right. Let's keep the runway outcome that keeps the runway. Outcome that prevents drift. What is our process goal? From what you've already locked, your process goal is basically process goal. Run the daily execution cadence and remove yourself as a constraint. Flex plan, deliver content, drive into school, coach, deliver, ORCA debrief. That's a repeatable behaviour that makes outcome more inevitable. This aligns with Chris Bailey's framing. Outcome goals set the destination, process goals define the actions. I'm just going to pull up right there and show you this. So put this back up here. At the start of the year, I wasn't very intentional about how I set the year up. Word for the year is deliver. I saw someone the other day, an ADHD person, who goes, I'm not doing word for the year this year. Everyone else is doing word for the year and I'm not doing it. That's because they can't focus. Pure and simple. Only reason why. My job is deliver. Deliver lives, deliver workshops, deliver coaching, deliver projects. That's what I'm focused on this year. That's going to drive me towards my Misogi. I have an outcome goal. Win the school games. Third quarter of this year. I've got a high definition destination, which I can't repeat verbatim off the top of my head, but then I have, so that is tracked by this. The big ass calendar, so I can see the year in full. When I've got meetings on, a little coffee there, there's one I've got a meeting on. The crosses are, that means I've done my daily life, which is part of the first to get to this point here, which is the 11th of April, 30k MRR. That's the first milestone that we need to hit. The rest of the year hinges on that happening right there. That's the outcome, the big picture. That's how we get to win the school games. The process goal is the daily ORCAs. Every day, turn up. That's why I cross them off. Go do it, then I not do it. Okay, that was just for a bit of context for you. Mental contrasting, let's run it now live. Haven't done this before, so this is something brand new. You may have heard of it called as pre-mortem, or this is risk analysis. Lack of continuing risk analysis is one of the 12 causes of project failure. Winning the school games, that Misogi is a project. Just the same as building an iron ore mine or a gas plant. Mental contrasting, let's run it now live. Mental contrasting is a simple future reality obstacle plan, also known as WOOP, MC, or whatever. Outcome, future. Picture it, you've won the school games quarter. Where is the observable proof happened, not feelings, evidence? Pick one out aloud. MRR is that. So the proof is I've got the trophy. I mean, wherever it is, LA I think it is, they fly out to. I've got the trophy. Reality now, what is true right now that makes the outcome not true yet? MMR's 0 at the minute. The obstacle. Now the key question you referred to, what will get in the way? And Chris Bailey's version from your page is essential. What will stop us reaching the outcome goal? Here is the most likely obstacles. In your context, you tell me which one is the most real. Attention drift. New ideas, hijack, sprint, 1-2 focus. That's where most people go wrong. A lot of people say to me, like, why are you doing so many LinkedIn lives? I said, because it's working. What we tend to do is we find something that's working, you know what we do then? We stop doing it because we think, oh, this is too easy. Must be something else harder we can do that will give us better results. Proving mode sneaks back in. Over-explaining, over-delivering, time for, yeah, that's probably my most. Inconsistent cadence. I'm pretty good with cadence. Offer ambiguity. People like the content but don't know the decision. You remain the bottleneck. Community plus delivery depends too heavily on you. I'm going to say, if I've got to pick one, it'll be proving mode sneaks back in. This is where the mental contrasting becomes useful. Turn obstacles into triggered response. You feel the urge to pick up a new tool, then park it until the next sprint. If I catch myself explaining actions, then I'll do a restate the outcome and ask, do you want it? Okay. If I miss cadence for a day, then I'll run ORCA the same day to close the loop. If someone asks price time questions, then I anchor to outcome and decisions. That's probably that one. That's probably the one. If someone asks price time questions, then I anchor to outcomes and decisions. If I become the bottleneck, then I delegate, templatize the next repeatable step. Your move, one answer live. Which obstacle is most likely to stop you winning the quarter right now? It's really a toss-up between 2 and 4, but I'm going to say it right at this particular time and point in time. I'm going to say, because we only just worked on it the other day, I'm going to say number 2, proving mode. Interested to see if you think that might be correct. I agree with you. Number 2 is the right call right now. I'll tell you why in a way that sharpens the thinking, not flatters it. Proving mode is a real obstacle at this moment. Obstacle 4, offer ambiguity, was a problem. You've materially reduced it in the last few days by anchoring to this is the outcome, you decide if you want it. My value is in the outcome I'll make inevitable. That work matters. But here's the thing Chris Bailey and the mental contrasting research would point out. The most dangerous obstacle is the one that reappears under pressure. Offer ambiguity doesn't tend to reappear when things gets hard. Proving mode does. While proving mode is more fundamental than offer clarity. Proving mode shows up as explaining more when you should be deciding, adding context when you should be drawing a line, demonstrating effort when you should be asserting outcomes, filling silence instead of letting the decision sit. And here's the key insight. You can have a perfectly clear offer and still sabotage it by how you show up. Ooh. Proving mode doesn't break the offer, it dilutes the energy around it. That's why the correct obstacle to work on first. Mental contrasting, let's apply it properly, no worksheets. We already have desired future outcome, you win the school games. MRR is stable, people self-select faster, fewer convince me conversations. Reality now, the offer is clearer, the thinking is sharper, but under pressure there's a temptation to prove value again. So we name the specific internal obstacle. When the outcome feels important, I slipped into proving mode to reduce the risk. That's honest and that's normal. Now the only part that matters is the if-then rule. Chris Bailey's work is clear on this. Mental contrasting only works if you pre-decide your response. So here's the live version, no over-engineering. If-then for proving mode. If I notice myself explaining how something works, then I stop and restate the outcome only. If I slip in the urge to justify price, effort or time, then I ask, do you want the outcome or not? If I feel tension to be liked, understood or validated, then I'll slow down instead of adding words. That's it. 3 rules, nothing more. Why this obliterates the obstacle, not manages it. You're not trying to be better at selling, you're removing behaviour that collapses authority. And this ties directly back to your role definition from earlier. Your value equals judgment plus time plus human leadership. Proving more undermines all 3. So yes, you picked the right obstacle, not because it's dramatic, but because upstream of everything else. One final thinking time check, then we move on. Sit with this, no need to answer it out loud yet. What signal will tell me I've slipped into proving mode today? That signal is what you actually catch in real time. When you're ready, we can convert this into a sprint 1 guardrail or Sprint 1 guardrail, please. We need to wrap this question up because we've got one more question that I want to run through before we finish this live, but that is incredibly powerful and I want to be able to have that on a 1-pager that I can print and put up in my office, please. This is why most people don't think. It's fucking hard work when you do it right. But this is answering the question, right? You're picking up what I've been putting down here, right? What would it mean for AI to be my partner and reinvent my role? You're seeing it live, right here, right now. This is the answer, the best answer I can give you. I can do that. I'm going to have a quick drink. What have we got here? We've got a little video that we can play in the meantime. So this is reinventing the role, my role, the PM. I'll let you have a quick watch of this video while I have a drink and do a little bit of a reset it because my poor old brain is being pushed to limits today.
This is a big one, and I've asked a project executive that I respected a lot what the answer to this one is, but I'm going to ask you, when you think about the real objective of a project manager, going back to that loop, what is their actual mission so that we can bring it home for the listeners?
Okay, so the actual mission is I'd go back to the book by Patrick Lencioni, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, and a quote in there that says, if you could get all of the people in an organisation rowing in the same direction, you could dominate any industry, any market, under any conditions, at any time. If you could get everyone, the PM's job is to get everyone headed in the same direction. If you could do that, you'll build any project under any circumstances, ever gets thrown at you at any time. That's my opinion. In my opinion, that is his number one job.
I love that, and kudos to you for pronouncing his name right. I always get that wrong.
That took a lot of practice to get that right, especially for an
Yeah,
Aussie.
because
All right. What's he come back with? One closed page guardrail ready to print, stick on the wall. This is the right call, by the way. Choosing two, proving mode over 4 is accurate for where you are right now. You're not lacking clarity. You're not avoiding action. The constraint is the reflex to explain when the pressure rises. And this is something I'm going to hit next week. So this is absolutely perfect time. It's one page. It does exactly what you asked. Names the enemy, makes the outcome explicit, gives you if-then behavioural checks, removes emotion from the moment, restores authority without ego. Print it, put it beside your desk, read it before you go live, sell under pressure. All right, so what I'm going to do right now to make sure that I actually do that is I'm going to write a Camboyan ticket, which is print, what's it called? Print, proving mode daily guardrail. Well, no, as in big ass. What do you mean? I'll put that. You can come for a walk with me. Under ready. That's the next task I need to do. All right. I'll put that back on there so those lights don't do your head in. Okay. When you're ready, hit me with the final question. Let me pull up my Trello checklist. Reframing glow. Okay, so there's a key metric that I learned from Taki Moore. This is the only metric that I measure on my social media, and I'll give you the context around the reason why. So one of his guys figured out that if he could get people to watch 50 minutes of his content, the odds of them buying goes through the roof. I forget. It's not guaranteed, but you know, it's high. So I'm tracking minutes watched of all of my content that I'm doing on LinkedIn. I'm going to take a picture of, I think I've got it here. All right. So I'm going to I sat down and went back through all of the ORCA sessions that I've done this year so far. So on the left hand side is like you got 1 to 32 on the left hand side of the page. That's the 1 to 32 is the first 32 ORCA sessions that I did. Just to the right of it is another number, which is the minutes watched. Then you got 33 to 64. That's the next lot of ORCAs that I've done. To the right of those, you've got the minutes watched again. So to date, we have 1,150 minutes watched, which is 19.1 hours. If it was just people, if you split that up into 50-minute blocks, if they watched by 50 minutes, I would have had 23 inquiries, which I haven't, okay? Obviously, it's not, you know, that it could be 100 or more people that make up that watch time. What I want to focus on is how do I up the quality of my lives? Where's constraint? What do I need to do? What are the top 3 things I can do to drive that to a 10x result? So instead of 1,150, we drive that through 10,000. Instead of 19 hours, it becomes 1,900 hours of watch content in before we finish the ORCA series, which is we're at day 62 of 90 now. It's impossible unless we do what? Really keen to hear what he says about this. Most people don't put this sort of thought or this level of effort into the content that they create. Not even close. They are playing, waiting for the miracle cure. I had a video this time last year, literally this time last year, that did nearly 700,000 views on LinkedIn. Went viral, for want of a better term. You know how many inquiries I got out of that video? Duck eggs. None. I've had these lives where I've had, I don't know, 48, 50 minutes of watch time, and I've got inquiries from them. They've only had reach of, some of them are around 1,500 up to 4,000, but some of them have only had like a couple of hundred, or less than a couple of hundred, between 100 and 200. And people have messaged me and go, that one really resonated. This is why I'm focused on what's the watch time. How do I engage the people so they're going to hang in and watch the content? All right, I'm going to stay tight, present, and on mission here. No tangents, no task lists. This is the thinking time answer. How do I 10x minutes watch from 11 to 10,000 before day 90? It's impossible unless we do what? First, let's ground this properly. What the data is actually telling you is 1,150 minutes equals 90.1 hours. Spread across 62 ORCAs, that means the average viewer is sampling, not committing. That's not a reach problem. This is a commitment problem. Taki's insight matters here for one reason. 50 minute equals trust threshold. I'm just going to make a quick correction. I've only got down to where you said 15 minutes equals trust threshold. It's not 15, 1-5. It's 5-0, 50. I'll read the rest of it now. I might rewrite that. Perfect. Thanks for the correction. It actually sharpens the insight rather than weakening it. Let me restate it cleanly with 50 minutes as a trust threshold, then tighten the thinking so it holds. 15 minutes equals trust. It's 50 minutes equals commitment. That's a very different bar. 50 minutes means this isn't good content. This is identity level resonance. This is someone choosing how they think while you're talking. So the goal is not keep attention. The goal is keep the right people to cross a 50-minute commitment threshold. What that changes immediately. Sampling is irrelevant. Your 150 minutes is not how low, it's fragmented. You don't need more people watching a bit longer. You need fewer people deciding to stay much longer. That's very true. 50 minutes means they're not multitasking, they're not scrolling, they're investing cognitive effort. That only happens when they believe the outcome is worth staying for. The real question now becomes, what would make someone decide to stay for 50 minutes? Ooh. Not tactics, not structure, not polish. The answer is certainty. It's impossible to watch 10x watch time unless you make the outcome unavoidable early. People will give you 50 minutes only if they believe, if I stay, I will see something I can't unsee. That means you must name the constraint early. Signal the resolution is coming. Hold it, not rush it. Not, here's today's ORCA. By the end of this, you'll know exactly why your project feels busy, but it isn't moving. Now staying makes sense. ORCA becomes a single-threaded journey. 50 minutes can't be modular. It has to feel like one question, one tension, one reveal. If people feel they can cache the summary later, they won't stay. That's stay when their thinking unfolds in real time. You stop optimizing for replay and optimize for presence. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Content designed to be snackable cannot produce 50-minute commitment. To get 50 minutes, you must be slower, more decisive, leave silence, let the tension breathe. This feels risky, that's why it works. I like it. That clean sentence for you, not the audience. It's impossible to 10x watch time unless I stop trying to be broadly useful and start being deeply inevitable for a few. That's the unlock. Read the rest when you're ready. Nothing above requires tactics yet, just a shift how you hold the room. When you want, we can design a 50-minute spine or map how multiple orcas drive into one inevitable session. Your move. All right. I'll tell you what, I don't know about you. Thinking time's not as easy as you think. Pun intended. If you're thinking, that was really good. I really need to answer that question. If your value is judgment and human leadership under pressure, what should you never again be spending your time on? What should your AI wingman be doing for you? Reach out. I'm going to go because I've had enough. I'm knackered. But I'll flick you over this little beanie. This other beanie. Future beanie, previous beanie, whatever you want to call him. I'll tell you about sometimes to make a breakthrough, you're going to have to break some things. Like how I put that pause in there already. Oh, fuck. I nearly forgot our ORCA. We can't go yet. All right, we have to do our... This is what we're on here for. Other stuff nearly burned us out. ORCA wingman handover. I'm supposed to reduce the cognitive load on the weekend. This is supposed to be easier, not heavier. Anyway, we're going to have to confess. We're going to... This is... Hey, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that. Think of ORCA as confessions. That'll make a good session. Think of ORCA as confessions. Forgive me, Father. It's 24 hours since I did my last ORCA. I'm not religious at all, but anyway, stretch of the imagination. And if I've offended anyone, I apologise, but sounds fine to me. And if you're offended by that, you're really not going to be the sort of person that's going to want to work with me anyway. So, and you wouldn't have watched the video this far because I swear and I cuss and I drink beer and tell the truth too much. Not endearing tasks to people who don't want to know the truth. It is 24th Saturday of January 2026. This is a new shift. I'll crack the air in a minute, but don't get pull finger. It's a home ORCA. We want to crack it out quick. Pronunciation must be getting worse and worse. I had a wisdom tooth pulled out years and years ago. I was about 21. They damaged the nerve and they pulled it, and the side of my tongue was still a little bit numb. So that's why if I slur a bit when I start getting tired, it doesn't necessarily mean that I've had a drink, and I haven't had a drink today at all. Yes, the daily live is happening right now. Yesterday's 3 must-do tasks: verify full kit, write a physical campaign. All 3 done, yes. And then some. Today's one objective. One objective today was to do the LinkedIn Live around a specific question by Keith Cunningham. Keith Ferrazzi. Yes, the objective was achieved. I read my LinkedIn posts every day. I always put effort into LinkedIn, and I put a lot of time and energy to make sure that I craft the best possible posts. Even though I use AI to do it, I spend a huge amount of time getting the messaging right, which people have just seen. So that pretty much covers everything that you want to know. Tomorrow's a weekend, it's Sunday. And it won't be as long a post as this tomorrow, trust me. This one took a bit out of me. Verify full kit, write a physical Kanban ticket, do the daily live, which will be short and sweet tomorrow. 3 from 3 is the execution index. All of that thinking time session, none of that, everything that I did today would have come out like that, this way, if you liked it and you stayed this long and you think, man, that's good. That's all a result of doing the ORCA process all those days in a row. Day 62 or repeat Keith Cunningham's quote, ordinary things when done consistently produce extraordinary results. Not today. The results tomorrow, our tasks, we're done. Finally. Sometimes if you want to make a breakthrough, you gotta break some things. Speak soon. In today's world, incremental gains alone aren't going to cut it. Most teams are anchored to what they think is realistic. So they aim for a 10% gain and they call that ambitious. But as Joe Polish is famous for saying, if you want to make a breakthrough, sometimes you got to break some things. The first thing you need to break is what your team's anchored to, then find your real constraint and work out what moves the needle. If you want to see how I do that in the Unbox workshop, then here's a sneak peek.